Welcome to Future Consideration, SB Nation's weekly NFL draft show. That is Matt Ufford. He's our NFL guy.
You heard, and that's Dan Rubenstein. He watches college football.
That's true. Let's get into it. We're going to start with this week's Mocking the Draft mock draft.
This is a fun one.
Spicy.
Yeah, again, this is not necessarily predictive of what will happen, but in this week we wonder what happens if quarterbacks take a tumble. And so looking at the top five like we always do, Jadeveon Clowney to the Texans. Best player going first overall makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and in the same defensive front as J.J. Watt. Havoc.
Scary.
So much. Number two.
St. Louis Rams taking Greg Robinson.
Yeah.
And again, no qualms there. That's a franchise left tackle who's going to be there hopefully for the next 10 years.
Yeah, offensive line needs in St. Louis. That's been a guy that's been there for a little while. Jacksonville at three.
Sammy Watkins. Certainly wide receiver is a need for the Jaguars.
Yes, especially with Justin Blackmon's future uncertainty. This is future consideration.
Yes.
Justin Blackmon's future, we can't consider
so,
really.
And again, the most talented wide receiver, a game-changing wide receiver who's drawn comparisons to A.J. Green.
Yeah.
You know, like that's guy.
The big thing with him, if he's going to go top five, is the versatility. He can reverse his return game. There's so much he can do to contribute,
it's gonna
so it kind of
change your
makes
team.
sense. Four.
This is an intriguing one. The Vikings would trade up to take Khalil Mack. And he's been climbing up boards. I saw Fox Sports' Peter Schrager said that Khalil Mack might be a top 3 pick.
Yep.
And we're gonna get into
he's super duper NFL ready. Yeah, we're gonna get into the outside linebackers in a little bit. But yeah, that's to trade up, and that's a huge need for Minnesota though. That outside linebacker.
And 5, another shocker. Oakland Raiders selecting Aaron Donald from Pittsburgh.
I never understood why he wasn't, maybe not this high, but a top 10, top 12 pick to start with when we started talking about
6 weeks ago, he was end of the first round, then he was middle of the first round, and now we're talking top 5. That's
an interior defensive lineman who has no clear weakness and just dominates backfields.
Why not?
That's a top 5 ready guy. I'm a little bit surprised at this high, but you know what? I like it.
And then let's bounce around a little bit at number 8, trading down.
Yeah, let's get into some quarterbacks finally.
Are the Cleveland Browns taking Bortles as the first QB off the board?
Yeah, I don't think he is the best and most NFL-ready quarterback here, but at 8, no matter who grabs me, if it's Cleveland trading up, if it's anybody else, it's still a great value to me.
Browns need a franchise quarterback?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Better than a lot of than Cleveland has put on the field.
Yes.
So Tennessee at 11, Rashid Hagman, thoughts?
Thoughts, it's certainly a need for them. They need to improve the defensive line. Rashid Hagman's one of the better defensive linemen in the draft. I don't have any specific quibbles with it.
Right.
It's one where I just go,
If you are not a playoff team, which Tennessee is not at the moment, fortify the offensive line, the defensive front, and then work out from there once you get to the playoffs or near the playoffs.
13, and here's where I start loving this hypothetical draft, is the Rams taking Xavier Su'a-Filo, the guard from UCLA, and suddenly with 2 picks in the top 13, you've got Greg Robinson and Su'a-Filo, and then pair that with running back Zach Stacy, and the Rams are suddenly very scary.
I like that a lot, especially we saw San Francisco take 2 first-round offensive linemen a few years ago, fortify that offensive line, playing inside, just beat the crap out of those fronts in the NFC West. I like it.
Well, maybe not beat the crap out of them, but certainly a counter.
And yes, absolutely.
So it's a very smart thing to do if you're the Rams. Maybe take some notes.
Trade alert.
Trade alert.
We have Jacksonville trading up to grab a pick here.
Because Teddy Bridgewater and Johnny Manziel have fallen to the second half of the first round of the draft.
Yes.
And Bridgewater being snatched at 19 by the Jaguars, who could have had them at 3, but instead took Watkins.
I think we can agree he's not Andrew Luck in terms of like can't miss, gotta take him 1, or even RG3. But Bridgewater at 19, wow.
It's certainly a fantasy. It's something that's fun to think about as analysts.
When you think about the needs of teams, though, ahead of them, but still.
There's too many teams that need a quarterback and Bridgewater.
And on that note.
And then on that note, the Cardinals would go with Johnny Manziel, which,
20.
I mean, the Cardinals absolutely need a quarterback of the future. Carson Palmer and the word future just don't go together.
Not so much. Or future of shuffleboard or something like that. And then the Browns, once again, with Zach Martin. Interior offensive line, a need for the Browns, obviously. I really like their offensive line. Joe Thomas, obviously, a bedrock at left tackle.
As we've reviewed several different mock drafts with the Browns having 2 picks in the first round, Bortles and Martin is one of the best pairings we've seen.
Sounds like a comedy duo from the 1970s.
Bortles and Martin.
Yeah, no, that's a big win if they can walk away with those 2.
Yeah.
All right, that is our evaluation of this week's Mocking the Draft first round. Let us know what you agree with. It's an intriguing one. Let us know where you just shake your head.
Yeah.